Okay. So, this is the beginning of week 3 of our online journey, transitioning to online. Remember, week 1, you guys should have finished up your informative speech. You should have posted your informative speech video to the discussion board. Okay, so you should have gone into the discussions, clicked on informative speech, found your group thread, and added your video to it. And then you should have come back and watched 5 groups videos and filled out the critique sheet for each one of those. Now, if you don't have computer access in order to download the PDF and then use Adobe Reader to fill it out, you can type your answers into a Word document. Just make sure it's very clear as to what answers are for what part of the form, and then submit those to the Dropbox. So that was week 1. I know a couple people are still finishing up their critiques, and I had a couple groups who had trouble with uploading videos, and so they're still working on uploading those videos. But that was week 1. Week 2 was last week, okay, and that was the introduction to the persuasive speech, the speech we're starting to work on now, okay. And so last week, as you can see, there's the overview. I have a video of our live session at the top of the learning module, and then you guys should have done chapter 15. Remember, the vocab and review questions are in this document, not in the online book. You get them out of this document. You use the online book to help you answer the review questions. For the vocab, you can Google the words. Just make sure you're using the definition that goes with public speaking. And then again, the chapter observe video activities and prepare activities are the same, and there's links to them. And then there was a link to the Dropbox to submit this. And remember, this is last week. I also introduced the persuasive speech assignment last week, and you guys should have started thinking about topics. Topic proposal is due this week. And so the instructions are here, and there is a link to this Dropbox. Remember, each week you need to be coming through here and marking these complete as you finish them or view them. So for some of these, you may not have to actually turn something in. You're just looking at it and clicking on a resource. You still need to mark these complete. The school wants this done so that they can see you're interacting with our classes. So this was last week's, and it ended with the topic proposal, which actually is due this week, okay? So this week's learning module I just opened, it is week 3. And as you can see, it's set up the same way. There's a description of the module. After this class, I will actually upload our video right here, the same way it was in the unit or week 2 and week 1's. So I will have it right here. And then I also posted the topic proposal information here again, and a link to the Dropbox. That way, since you're submitting it this week, it's under this week's. I had a couple people who had trouble with figuring out the argumentative strategy they'd like to use, and so I have included a resource that you can click this link for. It takes you here to produce online writing. And they have information about the different types of argumentative strategies you can use. There's the Tomlin method. They explain what it is and then give you an example. There's the Rogerian method. They explain what it is and give you an example. And then there's the classical method. And again, they explain what it is and then give you an example. And so this is here for you to review if you didn't see in chapter 13 where it kind of goes over the different ways you can argue. And so that is in this link right here to help you if you need help with answering number 3. Now remember, your topic proposal is due by next class, by Thursday. I think on the thing it says Wednesday, but since you're Tuesday, Thursday class, you do have till Thursday. And it has to be typed, Times New Roman 12-point font, double spaced, with the heading and a header. Remember the MLA template from the informative unit. You can still use that template. And you're going to, it has to be 1 full page minimum. So for these 6 questions, make sure you are answering them in complete sentences and fully explaining your answers. And so this is what's due this week. This week, chapter 14 is due, okay? So you will start working on chapter 14 this week. It is due this weekend. Again, chapter 14 in your old book is the same as chapter 14 in the online book. Last week we did chapter 15, which was chapter 13 of the online book. So this week we're doing chapter 14, which is chapter 14 of the online book. And again, I have links to the vocab and review questions. You want to use the original ones, and a link to the video observational video activity and the prepare activities, as well as the Dropbox. Okay. In this week's outline, I have also introduced the annotated bibliography. It is not due until the end of next week. However, I do want you to be thinking about it as you finish up your topic proposal. I want you to start thinking of your research. The annotated bibliography is a little more involved than the source list for your informative speech. So we're kind of transitioning into a full annotated bib. For your source list, you only had a summary paragraph for each of your sources. In your annotated bib, you will have a 3-part paragraph. So it's going to have 3 mini paragraphs. And I'm going to go into more detail about what this looks like next week. However, I did give you some resources here. You can click on these links and they'll take you to more information on how to write these types of. But again, I am going to go over this in a little more detail next week during class. I just want you to understand that after you finish your topic proposal, you're going to need to start doing research for the annotated bibliography. You must have 6 sources for the annotated bib. And you need to make sure they're scholarly sources, that they're reputable and credible. You don't want to use random blogs. The Benedict College Library has fixed their online links, so you do have access to the library resources. If you have any trouble with finding sources, you can always shoot me an email or a text message and I can help you. But between now and next week, after you finish your topic proposal, you're going to want to start researching and finding some sources to use to support the arguments you're making in your persuasive speech. And so this is part of the planning process. Now remember, the annotated bib isn't due until the end of next week. So right now, this is just a preview for you. Really, all I want you to be worried about is starting to look for those 6 sources. And I don't want you to have to worry about that until after you've done your topic proposal and chapter 14. Chapter 14 is going to help you a lot with understanding what type of information is important in a persuasive speech or doing research for just informing your audience. And so there, you do want to look for different types of. So, any questions? I see Kino has his hand raised. Kino, do you have a question?
No, Mom. I thought that was for attendance.
Okay, no, for attendance, I need you to type your first and last name into the chat box.
I did.
Oh, okay, then you're good for that, yes. And if anyone who's still, I emailed out, like last week I had a couple students who asked me for a list of things they were missing, and I did email those out. But if anybody else is still from before spring break, wondering from the chapter work, anything you're missing, you can send me a text or an email and I will get working on those lists today. I am actually trying to get caught up on grading. I was super sick most of the end of last week and this weekend. I'm almost better. I'm not 100%, but I am getting new grading done. But I can send out, if you're missing any of the chapter work and you want to know exactly what parts you're missing, either shoot me an email or a text message and I can send out that list to you. No problem. Okay, any other questions about this week's assignments?
I have a question.
Yes.
What is due this week? Only the topic proposal?
Topic proposal, and then this weekend, chapter 14 is due. You should have chapter 15 already. So if you haven't, that needs done.
I did it all.
And then the other thing you guys need to make sure you're doing is as you're going through your weekly learning modules, make sure you're marking these complete. If you haven't been doing that, you need to go back and do that. Okay. So if you have questions, please stay and ask. If you don't have questions, you are good to go for today. Next week, I will be going over the annotated bibliography and what to do with those sources as you start researching. And this week, it's really solidify your topic, write that topic proposal. If you need help with any of it, you can shoot me a text or an email, and I can help you, and even if necessary, meet with you individually through Zoom. So if you have a question, please stay and ask. If you do not, you are good to go for class today.